Good morning, students. We'll start with second chapter of geography, that is land, soil, water, natural vegetation and wildlife resources. Means we are going to read about five different kind of resources in this chapter. That is land resources, soil resources, water resources, natural vegetation and then wildlife resources. Okay. Now in the starting of this chapter, two different situations are given. Okay, there is a girl called Mamba who lives in Tanzania in Africa, and another boy, Peter, who lives in a sheep rearing region, in a region where sheep is reared. Okay, in New Zealand. Now their living conditions have been defined here. Okay, what type of crops are grown in their fields, and how much hard work they have to do, where, in which place there are more scientific techniques and where scientific techniques are less. Okay, so you will go through these examples, and then you will find out that both Mamba and Peter, they live in two different parts of the world. Their lives are different. Okay, and why are these differences? These differences are due to the differences in the quality of land, soil, water, natural vegetation, animals and usage of technology. Okay, and another major thing is that availability of such resources is the main reason places differ from each other. Why places are different from each other? Because of different kind of land, soil and other type of resources. Okay, so first we'll start with the land. The first resource is land. Okay, now land is one of the most important natural resources. We know that 71% of Earth's surface is covered with water, and 29, here they have written about 30%, actually it is 29 point something, 29 point something percent is covered with land. Okay, and it is not that this land is whole habitable, means wherever land is found people live everywhere. Okay, this is not true. Why? Because 90% of world population occupies only 30% of the land that is there. Okay, the remaining 70% of land is either sparsely populated, means very less population is there, or it is totally uninhabited, means nobody lives there. Okay, and we know that why we have read before also in 7th class that people like to live in such areas where agriculture is very easy, where river valleys are there, water easily available, agriculture can be done, or where resources are available so that mines and factories can be made there. Okay, but other type of places like deserts or hills, not hills, mountains, high mountains. Okay, land near poles, it is most of the land near the poles is totally uninhabited. Many parts of deserts and mountains are uninhabited or less population is there. Okay, so we know that the population distribution all over the world is uneven, means that somewhere it is more population, somewhere it is less. Okay, and the reasons that are there why people don't like to live in some areas, the reasons are rugged topography, means like the topography of the land is not good. Maybe it is high up in the mountains, or it is rough area like deserts. Okay, steep slopes of mountains, low lying areas susceptible to waterlogging. In some places what happens that water keeps on collecting there, and people can't live in such areas where water collects in the fields or on the land. Then desert areas, thick forest areas, these areas are either sparsely populated or they are uninhabited, means nobody lives there. Okay, most of the people, they try to live in areas like plains and river valleys because agriculture can be done there. Okay, so these areas, these are the most dense populated areas of the world. Okay, now next comes land use. Land use means that for which purpose the land is being used. So land can be used either for agriculture, forestry, mining, building houses, roads, setting up of industries. All these uses are called land use. Okay, and the use of land is determined by physical factors, means the land will be used for which purpose. It is determined by some factors like topography. Topography means it is which type of land. Is it a desert? Is it a plain? Is it a plateau? So that is topography. Soil, which type of soil is available. Like if alluvial soil is there, the people will like to do agriculture there. Then climate, what is the climate of that area? Minerals, if more minerals are available, then instead of doing agriculture, mining will be done in those places. Okay, then availability of water. All these factors decide that the land will be used for which purpose. Human factors such as population and technology, sometimes they also determine that how the land will be used. Next, there is a table in your book where some countries are given on one side and how their land has been used under which purpose. Okay, just go through this table and you will find out that somewhere agriculture is, like in India 57% of land is being used for agriculture, but in other places it is less. In Australia 56% land is being used for pastures, means grassland. Okay, so animal rearing will be more there. 67% of land in Japan is under forest, so this is different kind of use. 52% of land is being used for other purposes, maybe for building houses, building other kind of places. Okay, so go through this table and find out that in these countries how much percentage of land is being used for which purpose. Okay, now land can be divided on basis of private land and community land. Private land means if it is owned by one person or one family. Okay, community land is owned by community for common uses like collection of fodder, fruits, nuts or medicinal herbs. Like the forests nearby the villages, the people will go there to collect different kind of things, maybe wood, maybe fodder for their animals, fruits, nuts or herbs for making medicine. Okay, so those type of lands where the whole community is dependent upon that land for some purposes, it is called community land. Okay, it is also known as common property resources. Okay, now people with population increasing, the availability of with population increasing, the demands of people will keep on increasing. Okay, but we have to keep one thing in mind, that availability of land is limited. The land is not going to increase with population, land is limited. So how we should use it, that depends on us. Okay, the quality of land also differs from place to place. People started encroaching the common lands to build up commercial areas. What happened that when people's demands started increasing, people started encroaching, they started controlling the common property lands to build commercial areas, housing complexes in urban areas and in rural areas to do agriculture. Okay, so today there are vast changes, very big changes in land use pattern. Okay, and what has happened that due to our changing needs, increasing demands and change in use of land, some problems have arisen, like land degradation, means the quality of land is degrading, it is going down and down, decreasing. Landslides have started occurring, soil erosion has occurred, desertification means the deserts are growing. Okay, these are major threats to our environment. Why? Because we have expanded agriculture and constructional activities and forests are decreasing day by day. Okay, in these next 4 diagrams, change in land use over time is denoted. Like earlier, forest cover was also there, people they did agriculture, very few houses and that too away from each other. Slowly what happened, that forest cover has gone, more and more houses have come out. Okay, then cities have been made and here greenery is very less. You will just see cemented structures. And with time, these buildings will keep on growing and green cover is reducing day by day. Okay, so this tells that how land degrading happens with when we don't keep balance in our demand and the availability of land resource. Okay, so this tells that if land is degrading, we need to conserve it, means we need to save the land. Okay, so due to increasing population and increasing demands, forest cover is being destroyed. Okay, not only forest cover, even arable land is being converted into cities. Now what is this arable land? Okay, actually the arable land means any land capable of being plowed and used to grow crops, and a land where agriculture can be done, that is called arable land. So due to our increasing demands, what has happened, the area, the land that was under the forest or it was being used for agriculture, we are destroying that land to make more and more buildings, to construct roads. Okay, and due to this there is a fear that we will lose this natural resource. Land will be there, but its quality will decrease so much that we won't be able to do anything out of that resource. We won't be able to use it in a good manner. Okay, so the degradation of land that is increasing, it should be checked. And how it can be checked? By afforestation, means by growing the forest. Okay, land reclamation means to claim back, to take back. So the land should be reclaimed to grow more and more forests on them. Okay, regulated use of chemical pesticides. Now we know that to save agriculture, chemical pesticides are they are necessary to be used, but their use should be regulated. It means it is like the use of these chemical pesticides should be limited. Okay, chemical pesticides and fertilizers, and checks on overgrazing. Wherever animal rearing is done, animals are raised to use animal products, so there the overgrazing of land should be checked. It is not that animals should be sent to same patch of land to graze. They should be sent to different patches of land so that grass may grow again. Okay, and these are some of the methods due to which we can conserve our land resource. Okay, one of the major problems that has occurred due to degradation of land resources, landslides. Okay, what is a landslide? It is mass movement of rock, debris or earth means soil, down a slope. When like here from the hill, lot of soil and lot of things, they suddenly move down, that is called a landslide. Okay, now these landslides, they don't occur as such singularly, they occur along with some other factors. Like landslides can occur in conjunction means along with. They can occur along with earthquakes or floods or volcanoes. Like if earthquake has come, then landslide can occur. Landslide can occur in floods also. Landslide can occur if volcano erupts. So the land nearby that volcano, due to the tremors that start after volcano eruption, due to those tremors, the movement, the tectonic movement, you read last year, the tectonic movement, due to that landslide can occur. Okay, then a prolonged spell of rainfall. If rainfall occurs for many days together, then also it can cause heavy landslide, and due to those heavy landslides, the flow of a river can be blocked, and that can happen for quite some time. Okay, like in 2013 when Uttarakhand floods came, so most of the rivers, they were blocked for, or their course, the course of the river was changed due to landslides. Okay, And the formation, what happens that if a river is blocked, the formation of river blocks can cause havoc to the settlements downstream on its bursting. Now if landslide has occurred, like this landslide has occurred, and if this land enters the mud and everything that has come down, it enters and blocks a river, what will happen? The river water will cause havoc. It will cause flooding of low lying areas, the villages that lie in valley areas of the hills. Okay, and this is what happened in Uttarakhand floods 2013. Okay, and in hilly terrain, in hill areas, landslides have been major and widely spread natural disaster. This is a natural disaster that happens every year. Okay, and due to it, life and property damages can be done, and it also, so it is a major concern for us. Means we should know why landslides occur and how we can save people from these landslides. Here example of one a landslide has been given here. A massive landslide hit Pengi village. It is in near Rekong PO, Kinnaur district, Himachal Pradesh. Okay, now due to this landslide, what happened that 200-meter of road, old Tibetan road, that is National Highway 22, it was destroyed. 200 meters of that land was destroyed. And why this landslide occurred? Because of intense blasting going on there. Now blasting was being done so that roads could be made. So obviously if you have to make roads along the mountains, along the hills, then you have to blast some of the part of the mountain. But what happened that due to this blasting, the weak zone of slope collapsed. It fell down and damaged the road and nearby villages, and the Pengi village had to be vacated completely. The people were told to leave so that there is no loss of life. Okay, now next is mitigation mechanism. What is this thing called mitigation? Mitigation means the action of reducing the severity, seriousness, or painfulness of something. Means anything that can be done to reduce the pain and severe situation of something. Okay, so mitigation mechanism means those techniques that can be used to reduce the effect of landslides. Scientific techniques have advanced, and we know that due to which factors landslides can occur and how we can manage them. Okay, first step is that hazard mapping can be done. Means map can be made of such areas which are prone to landslides. Means where landslides occur on maybe on daily basis, or after some days, or after every month. Okay, so such areas can be avoided for building settlements. Houses or buildings should not be made there. Then construction of retention wall to stop from slipping. What is this retention wall? Retaining wall is actually a wall that is built to prevent the earth behind it from moving. Like this is a retention wall. When you go to hilly areas, you see that along the hill, along the mountain, a wall has been built. So that this wall is built so that it stops the land from moving down. Okay, then third measure is increase in vegetation. Increase in vegetation cover is an effective way to arrest landslide. Now if more and more trees are grown, so soil erosion and land moving down can be decreased. Then surface drainage control works to implement the control of movement of landslide along with rainwater and spring flows. Means when water moves down the hills, then some kind of drainage control should be there so that the land, the soil that is moving down, it is collected there on the mountain only, it does not come down. Okay, next is the soil. The second is soil. Now what is soil? The thin layer of grainy substance covering the surface of the earth is called soil. The grainy substance that covers the topmost of the earth, it is called soil. It is closely linked to land. Soil is different, land is different, but they are linked to each other. Okay. Now, landform determines the type of soil, means which type of land it is. It is a plain land, it is a hill land, it is a hilly area, it is a desert area. So that type of landform will determine the type of soil also. Soil is made up of organic matter. Organic matter means the dead remains of plants and animals. Then minerals and weathered rocks. Weathered means broken rocks. Okay. And this happens, how soil is made, it happens through the process of weathering. What is weathering? The breaking up and decay of exposed rocks by temperature changes, frost action, plants, animals, and man. Now, when the soil gets made from rocks, okay, when the rocks get broken down, when the rocks get weathered, and how that can happen due to change in temperature. Sometimes it is very high temperature, sometimes it is low, due to falling down of rain, due to moving of winds, or like if some plant has grown out of it, any kind of action that happens on the rock. Okay. And the right mix of minerals and organic matter makes the soil fertile. If the minerals and organic matter is in a good percentage in the soil will be very fertile. Okay, this is the soil profile given in your book. The topmost soil is with humus and vegetation. Humus means organic matter. Then next is, this is subsoil. This is subsoil with sand, silt, and clay. Under it would be the weathered rock material, the rock from which the soil got made, and under it parent rock. The rock will break down and will form that kind of soil. Now, do you know it takes hundreds of years to make just 1 centimeter of soil? So, just to make 1 centimeter of soil, it will take hundreds of years together. So this tells we should not waste soil, we should not destroy it, we should not throw garbage upon it to make it unfertile. Okay, the major factors, the last thing we'll discuss today is the major factors of soil formation. The major factors are the parent rock and the climatic factors, the rock from which the soil will be made, and the climatic factors. Other factors that help in soil formation: topography, role of organic material, and time taken for composition of soil formation. So these are the major factors. Parent rock, it determines color, texture. Now what is texture? Texture means the feel, appearance, or consistency of soil or a substance. Means the soil has heavy grains or small grains. Okay, like alluvial soil that we have in Punjab, it is different, and soil of a desert, it is totally different. So that is texture. Chemical properties of the soil, it will, parent rock will also determine which type of minerals are there, what content means how much minerals are there and how much organic matter is there. Permeability. Now what is permeability? Permeability, if a substance is permeable, it allows the liquid or gases to go through it. Now, like I'll give you example of clay. If you put water in clay, will it go through it? No, it will absorb most of the water. But if you take sand and throw water on it, sand does not retain water, it goes down through it and it does not hold water. That is permeability. Relief. In relief, what will come? Altitude and slope. At what height the land it is there. Okay. Slope. Now if it is a mountain soil, the slope is a straight slope or slanting. Determine accumulation of soil. These two factors, altitude and slope, they determine accumulation, means collection of soil there. Okay, accumulation, mass or quantity of something that has gradually gathered. Means like if slope is slanty, okay, then more and more soil will accumulate there. If it is straight, the soil will move down along with water. Flora, fauna and microorganism. Flora means plants and trees, fauna means birds and animals, microorganisms you all know, bacterias. Okay, so due to presence of these, they affect the rate of humus formation, means organic matter. If it is more of these things are present in soil, the dead remains of these things are more there, okay, then the soil will be more fertile. Time determines thickness of soil profile. The more and more time it will take, the soil will be more thick. Climate, temperature, rainfall influence rate of weathering and humus. If these factors keep on changing, temperature and rainfall, then due to it weathering will be more. Okay, now what you will do, you will read the chapter till here. We will continue tomorrow.